Hey everybody, welcome to another Bourbon and Blockchain video. We have a special guest today. Today we are talking with Ocean, the founder of the Salty Pirate Crew community. Ocean, how you doing today, buddy?
Good, brother. It's good to be here. I love the community. I love what you guys are doing. So it makes a lot of sense for me to come up and have a chat with you. I've watched a couple of your shows and they're quite entertaining.
I appreciate it. And the feeling's mutual. You have a really cool community. I've been a part of it since before your launch, obviously, and you guys are doing some pretty good things over there. And the people that you have in that group are very unique. I think you guys did a great job with how you guys formulated all of that.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time because look, sorry, I'm just posting a link in my Discord for everybody to join. We sat down when we first started looking at NFTs, and we started to try and work out, like, if we look around the market, we see what particular projects have done well, and we can see what particular projects have done poorly, and we can actually take some time to sit back and analyze where they go right and where they go wrong. And the one thing that we identified as something that was really key for projects to do really well was 3 or 4 fundamentals. And those fundamentals were community being number 1, utility being number 2, transparency number 3, and then 4 was some type of bridge between Web3 and the real world. Because it's great that you have utility inside, these ecosystems, but as soon as we go into a bear market, that doesn't help. So there's no real world utility. There's nothing outside of just that NFT. So, hope it doesn't happen, but we could have bear cycles for 6 months. So the project needs to be focused on more than just what they have in their ecosystem, and that's what we've spent a lot of time doing too. So community being number 1, we sat down, we said, how are we going to build a really good community? How can we avoid all the pitfalls that a lot of these other communities have made in the past? And then once people go live with their project and they have a lot of hype, we see it go up really fast and then come back down really slow. Really fast as well. So equally as fast. And that's not long-term. That's not a long-term vision. And we wanted to try and avoid anything that had momentum going into a trade that rocketed up and came down really fast. We wanted to avoid bots. We wanted to avoid fake numbers. We just wanted to build a really good core community, and it took a lot of hard work. And if Brian, he's our community manager, if he's listening, he was rock solid for us in that process. He helped us build our community, took it from 300 to 1,000 almost single-handedly, and he did us a really, really massive, he benefited us really massively by doing that. And we can't thank him enough, to be honest. But it's having members like that, which is what we set out to build. And Brian was an early member, and he came on, and, we just started chatting, and we talked a lot, and we got to know each other. And by doing that, and what we've tried to do with other members is get to know them really well, because that's what builds strong communities. And that's when you get communities like ours that, don't talk about like when Moon, or they don't talk about when Lambo, like a lot of other communities, and those Discords move so fast. We have genuine relationships. We have genuine people in there. The chat's blowing some corporate businesses away, because there are corporates looking at us, and they're very, very impressed by what they're seeing. They're very excited to either bring their brand in here or talk to us about bringing their brand in here as well. So community's been everything. And for us, the brands are recognizing that slowly, one by one, and they're spending time in there. So some of those people in the Discords are actually brands that are coming in and checking us out.
Yeah, that's, you mentioned a lot of good things there. And, first of all, we kind of have a tradition here. We're Bourbon and Blockchain. So what we like to do is have a good conversation about cryptocurrency or crypto related projects and content over a nice stiff adult drink. Today, personally, I'm drinking some Weller. It's some bourbon, full proof. It's for me, it's just a bourbon that I really enjoy that you can get in the States. But I'd also like to ask you, what are you drinking today?
I'm actually drinking one of our sponsors' drinks. It's called Fizz, or Hard Fizz. This is actually their X flavor. It's actually naturally caffeinated, and it's a sparkling seltzer, hard seltzer. So that means it's, I think it's got one standard drink in it. They're absolutely amazing. They're like 99% sugar free. There's like, I think like 3 calories in the whole thing. It's just amazing. So these guys are, partnered with us. We love their product, and we're also, we'll probably chat about it a little bit later, but we've got some exciting things we're going to be announcing, and we have been announcing in the Discord about our partnership with Fizz.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time, I guess we might as well hit on it since we're talking about it now. This is the first time I've seen an NFT project or a crypto project team up with a beverage, or an adult beverage, an alcoholic beverage. Are you aware of another group or another project that has done that before?
No, this is a world first. And it's strange because I like from the community, just this is a massive play. Like this is huge. So I don't know if everybody's sort of prepared for what's about to happen, but working with Fizz and pushing their 5th flavor. So this is not by any means just for the Discord. This is for the whole country, and we're going to be pushing it really hard. And it's going to be a flavor that's named after us, and we will have our parents looking cans. So it's something we're going to be pushing really hard. Fizz are going to get really behind it with a lot of PR and a lot of marketing, but also have a lot of their influencers jump on it as well. So this is going to have some massive reach. So if you're listening to this as a major alpha, Fizz is going to be going turbo to help us promote our brand, but also their new flavor, which is up to the DAO to actually decide what that flavor is, which is amazing. Like, it's not only is it a world first with an NFT partnering with an alcohol brand and going to market, we're actually letting the DAO decide what flavor we actually choose. So right now, not right now, but in the next few days or so, we're going to be putting a vote up in our Discord, which will allow for people to pick the flavor that they like the most.
Do you mind if I share that that link or that that image that shows the voting thing that you guys put up earlier today in announcements?
Yeah, no worries. It was blurred out on purpose. We're just trying to start, teasing the actual flavors themselves. So we didn't actually want to announce the flavors today. Was that blurred out for you?
Yeah, it's blurred out.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's some of the concepts. So we've been working in the background on the design. What's going to be really cool is an animation that we've been working on in the background. So there's a lot of really cool stuff to come.
Yeah, like I said, I think that's pretty different. It's exciting, and I think this is going to start to kind of set a different standard, if you will, for projects coming after you. That you're going to have to step up your marketing if you're going to want to keep up with some of these other projects. So that's cool. I mean, you guys are being innovative in different aspects.
Do you know how I came up with the idea?
How'd you come up with it?
So I was looking at Twitter and I saw every single project was using Times Square Boulevard as a way of advertising their NFT. And it's great, but it just costs money. So I thought, what's a way that we can actually put our product on something so different that no one's ever done before and get it into the hands of people, which is like obviously product. And then I thought about it for a while and landed on alcohol because, I know a lot of people in the alcohol industry. I know how big alcohol sales are globally. It just made a lot of sense for us to put pirates who connect with alcohol on bottles or on cans, or, eventually we plan on making our own distillery at some point, depending on how we go. So there are very, very big plans for us long term. So, Fizz is great. And I think they're probably one of my favorite alcohol brands out there by far. And what they're doing is incredible. And the people that they're working with are amazing. So, yeah, I mean, working with pirates and alcohol is a no-brainer for us.
Yeah, it sounds like it kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind. I might as well just ask you what brought you into crypto, and when did you start to hear about cryptocurrency and start taking it seriously?
probably like a lot of us heard about Bitcoin when it was about $30, didn't act on it, saw it go to 100, thought it was oversold or overbought, sorry. Saw it hit 300, so I had the same feeling, saw it hit 1,000, and then it got rugged. Like I think it had a 90% retracement. And then I just never ever bought it, never touched it. Left that space for a while. I bought some other coins like Litecoin and Ethereum, so I did pretty well out of those. But I've probably been in it. How long ago would you say that Bitcoin was $30? Was that around 2008?
Oh, yeah, it had to have been pretty darn long ago. I wouldn't know.
Yeah. So yeah, around that time was when I started to hear about it, and then I probably started trading in about 2016, 2017.
Oh, okay.
And then, so me personally, I've been working a lot in the Web2 space. So I've built thousands of different websites for thousands of different businesses. I'm from an agency background, so I used to go in and help businesses build their dreams. And after a while of doing that, or a long time of doing that, you start to realize patterns and what industries work well and what is effective online and how to build better. And someone came to me with a really good idea to build a commercial Airbnb. So we wanted to make it an Airbnb type of site where you could actually rent space from one another. And we did it really, really well. But then the pandemic hit and it affected us massively because it's really hard to get people to come together, which is what our business model was, especially when the government was telling us all to stay at home. So we had to pivot our business model a little bit during the pandemic, and we moved into a category called ghost kitchens. So we did a lot of offsites, we did meetings, we did remote working, single desk, hot desking, just all different types of spaces that businesses could use. And then we jumped into ghost kitchens, where we started working with the hotels that we worked with, because we did a lot of conferencing as well. And we saw that their kitchens were available and they weren't using them at all because they were at about 6% occupancy. And for us, it was like, well, you can't hire, a couple of staff, a chef, and you're already in the hole massively. So they just left them sitting there. And then the online delivery boom went up. So there was this huge demand for kitchens. So we just quickly pivoted to that, spun up a section of the website for kitchens, and then just started leasing them to all types of businesses. So it was really great. We got some really good media attention. And at that point, I thought of a way of, making NFTs, because I've been watching it for a while, making NFTs for that particular business. But then I thought it was a bit too complicated what I wanted to do, and maybe a bit too premature, something I could maybe go back to at some point later. But then I saw, what was happening with the apes and some of these other great communities, and I thought we need to do something similar, but not too similar. We need to differentiate ourselves from everybody else. And we didn't want to be another animal profile picture because they're done to death. And we wanted to do something that was nostalgic and, things that people have a connection to. And, obviously, we all love pirates, and we've had pirate movies and games for years. It just made a lot of sense. I used to be an avid gamer, and I used to play, when I was really young, a game called Monkey Island. I don't know if anybody knows it, but I used to love that game. It was like you walked around and interacted with the elements in the actual game, and you had to think about it. It was like a problem-solving game. Yep. And that I was working one day and I was trying to work out what we could do, and I turned around and I looked at some of my old stuff that I had sitting in one of my cupboards, and I found the actual cardboard box of Monkey Island that had the floppy disks in it.
Oh wow!
And it's like a relic. And I was like, that's it. It's pirates. And it's been go ever since, and it's been a great journey. And meeting some of the people that are in our Discord, and some of the people that we've met along the way in other projects, it's been an amazing ride. And I couldn't speak more highly about Web3. It's so inclusive. There's great people in there. Obviously, people we hear as people that buy NFTs, we hear just a JPEG, and we hear money laundering and stuff like that. It's no different from any other market.
Yeah, that's a bunch of nonsense.
What were you saying?
It's a bunch of nonsense. It's people that don't understand it, that want to have an opinion and think that they sound smart when in actuality they just have no real thought, no original thought on the space.
It's so yeah, it's so true. And you know, Gary Vee said it the best the other day. I couldn't believe his summary of it to a reporter. But he said that he's been laughing for years at how people think that things don't have value. Like people used to say, like, why does a Chanel bag have value, or why do basketball cards have value? And it's their thought on why something should have value when it's the market that determines the value. So
Right,
it's just
exactly.
laughable. So, but anyway.
Yeah, I watched that interview as well. And I listen to a lot of what Gary Vee says, and he's got his finger on the pulse, and he has for a long time, and it shows. And people are listening to him. That's why he goes to huge symposiums and auditoriums and talks to several hundred people or thousands of people about what's going on in this space. One of the ones that I watched actually from last year, he was sitting in a room with a bunch of just millionaire business owners, and they're trying to get advice as how to turn their business around or how to like jumpstart what they're doing and make it better. And he was polling them and saying, how many of you in here have a social media page? And several people raised their hands. And he said, well, how many of you guys are using TikTok? And almost nobody raised their hands. And he says, you are missing out on some of his clients because you're choosing to have a bias of something you don't understand. If you start using TikTok, you're going to get more viewers. You're going to get more people seeing your product. So you need to stop having opinions about things you don't understand, and you need to branch out. And I thought that was really important.
Yeah, he's a real visionary. Like he's been talking about this stuff for so long. And a lot of what if you even go back and watch some of the stuff that he talks about, he's spot on, like
Yes.
even years later. So, he's obviously someone that we all watch in his space because he's someone that we all consider a thought leader, but also someone that just really can see what's happening and what's unfolding before it does. So
Yeah,
it's good to see him in the space.
absolutely. One of the things that he actually talks about, this will kind of segue into something else, is you decided to dox yourself once this project lifted off. You introduced yourself to the community, you showed your face, and obviously you're doing interviews where you're showing your face and all of that. I guess the question would be, what helped you make that decision, and why do you think that was an important move for you to make?
That's a good question. I've got nothing to hide. Like this is a priority to me. This is something that I'm working towards long term. I've got a very, very big vision for this project. I want to make the BAYC of Australia. And I want to do that with a great bunch of people, a great team, a great community, and I want to do it together. And that's why I decided to do a DAO. And, like if anybody's going to lead a project, they must inspire the rest. I don't know how inspiring I am, but I wanted to at least put my name and my face to this project to let everybody know how serious I am about that claim. It's really important for me to, make sure that, people feel like they're part of the community, like they feel part of the team. I open my phone to anybody in the Discord. I'm here to talk to the community. I'm here to get to know you guys because it's as a community that we're going to do this. It's not as individuals.
Yeah, I guess another question for that would be, was it a difficult decision to make, or was it just right out the gate, you knew that you were going to start off by letting the world know who you were because it was that important, or did you have to think about it?
No, straight out the gate. There's no question in my mind. If you want to make something work and you want to show people that you're serious about it, put your face and your name to it.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think it's important, I was saying the segue to this was talking about Gary Vee, and I think Gary Vee has talked a lot about transparency and how these projects work, and that people need to have more responsibility in this space, or else the greed factor is going to take over and all these people are going to lose money. And he's been talking about that for a long time. Circle that till now, within the last few months, there's been a lot of projects both in the NFT space and not in the NFT space where people are losing a lot of money. And I think a lot of that's coming from the greed factor, and it's also coming from having not high standards for projects and things like that. And I think it's important for people to realize that projects that have docs team members, projects that are transparent, products that make sure that they tell everybody what's going on, they actually go through the process of having a white paper and things like that. those are things that people need to start having standards of, not just what's popular or has more people in their project waiting room in the Discord.
Yeah, look, I've got a massive gripe with this topic. I'll try not to spend too much time on it, but I feel like the market itself is very immature. It's no doubt about it. Like we're in our infancy of NFTs. I mean, the last 6 months have been the most explosive time for NFTs, which means that newer people are coming in every single day, and they're wet behind the ears. And we all were at one point. So it's not to say that there's any disadvantage to that. It just means that they're uncovering a new world and they're starting their journey, and that's completely fine. But because we're at our infancy as NFTs and as a community together, we need to start trying to help and educate people that are coming in, because if we don't spend time doing that, we're going to have the same patterns and the same scenarios happen over and over again, and people are going to get sick of losing money and people are going to leave the space. It is not good long term for people to be jumping into hype and FOMO and losing all this money every single time they see something that has X amount of people in the Discord. It is not the only metric for identifying a good platform or project. Sorry. It's a great metric for at least one of 10, probably, the factors that you probably need to consider when you look at jumping into a project. But you must consider so many other elements alongside of the amount of members in the Discord. I probably won't say too much more than that.
No, I think you're spot on. We've been talking about this with several different guests. We talk about it with different people at different angles. But to talk with somebody that's from the NFT perspective to say the same thing is powerful. I think that everybody notices that a lot of what's happening is new investors are being taken advantage of, and people who are greedy and have a lack of self-control are getting what they're deserving, right? So with that being said, I think that as a community, and what I've been saying with several different people that we've talked to, is that as a community, we need to have a higher standard so that all of the projects that don't have those standards start to have to meet those standards in order to be successful. And until we decide to do that as a group, we're going to be in this funky game, a limbo of what's good and what's bad. And to add to that a little bit, I would also say that until we start to hold people accountable, right? That's also going to be something where people are going to always try to take an advantage of taking people's money. So, I think that that's something to be concerned about, obviously. And that's where you tell people, you have to do research. You have to look at the group. You have to look at the project and see, what is making them tick before you choose to make an investment opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I not to point any fingers or whatever, but some of the platforms aren't helping this process. Like we all have to use particular marketplaces to find NFTs, but it's impossible to get in contact with people. And, like we've got 7 or 8 fake accounts, and we've had over 100 members report them, and they're still live. And this is after 4 weeks of letting them know. This is not on. This is part of the problem. This is part of people getting scammed. Is the marketplaces aren't up to date and aren't up to speed with the actual scams that are going on their platform, and it's really sad, to be honest. Like I've been waiting probably 8 weeks for an API from OpenSea, and I still haven't got it.
Wow.
These are basic things like pulling down fake accounts, sending their API. These are not difficult things to do, but they are taking forever to get done.
Yeah. And you know what? And it almost seems like they care more about, and I'm not pointing any fingers either, but just from an outside perspective, it seems like they just care about the money flowing in, and that shouldn't be the way that it is. We need to make sure that we're also protecting investors, and that we have integrity with the projects that are being posted. And if any of those things are violated, they need to be taken seriously. And then maybe they need to have a pause function where, okay, if we get X amount of reports about a specific site or a specific launch or project, then we pause it until we figure out what's wrong with it, right? But
That's
what
right.
they're doing currently, it's not working.
Yeah, it's this short-term mentality again. Like it's like this is the problem. And look, I don't know this for a fact, but I feel like a lot of projects don't have a lot of real world experience when it comes to business. And this is another factor that needs to be considered, is the experience behind the founders. And I know it's something that we factor in, but we only really factor in the experience from Web3. Um, it's important to know that people know how to manage money. It's important for people to know that they're able to run teams, efficiently. They need to know that they're able to stick to deadlines and be able to develop. And like these are not just the only things that a team needs to be able to achieve. There are collaborations that need to be done, and like doing a collaboration with someone like Fizz cannot be done by a 16-year-old or an 18-year-old. It just will never happen. This is from 20 years of networking. This is from my network from other businesses that I've run. This is from the network from working with a marketing agency. I don't know too many other projects that have a full marketing agency as a partner. So that these are some things that people really need to look at when investing in a project. They need to look at what is the experience outside of Web3, as well as any experience in Web3, because everybody's copying the same code. Everybody's copying the same smart contract. They're just changing it slightly and then they're deploying it. It's not a difficult thing to do. But, like we had our developers go in there and optimize the smart contracts, and we saved the community $250,000 collectively over only a 3,000 collection, and nobody's ever thought to do what we did before. It's like it's wild. This is the experience that comes from having successfully run a couple of businesses in Web2 as well. And I'm not saying that a lot of other projects don't have that. And of course, when I talk to some projects, they've got great business acumen. They understand long-term vision and certain things that they're working on, and you can really start to understand passion levels and what people's intentions are by being able to talk to them. But I know the average person that's not looking to do collaborations or talk to these founders don't get an opportunity to talk to them one-on-one, which makes it difficult, I understand. But we need to look for other metrics in businesses or projects besides the amount of people in the Discord.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the gassing, because like I said, I was there for the mint portion of it, and it was crazy. I've never experienced having Gwei be over 100, but I was able to mint at under $10. I think it was under $10 per NFT, and when they were grouped together, it was still pretty darn cheap.
Well, I think we were the very first project to do that too. So, SPC, even though we're not getting the eyeballs I think we should, I'm happy with the community we have, and it's great. The chat doesn't move too fast, so we can, build quality friendships and relationships with people inside of the Discord. But the fact that we optimized our smart contract to do something that no one's ever done before, the fact that we've got a real world brand making a drink for us and their own flavor, and it's branded with our brand on it, with the fact that we've got a game coming live in like literally 2 weeks. These are not easy things to achieve, and we're just knocking them out of the park. And I have to give a lot of credit to the team that I have. They're just simply amazing. Like Blackbeard and KS, they're not often in the Discord because they're really busy on working on the actual staking mechanism in the game and so on. But they're just incredible at what they do. I can't understand some of the things that they do and achieve. So I'm really lucky to have them on the team.
Well, yeah. So since you're talking about it, I guess we should talk more about the project itself while we're here. One of the things that I think, just overall as a project, I think it's pretty unique that you guys are, your team or yourself are from Australia, and there's a lot of ties there. There's a lot of roots there. And it's almost like you've got like the backing of, an entire country behind you, where everybody's like, yeah, this is something that's part of us. And it's not so it's not so secular that only people from Australia can join in. It's obviously open to everybody, but you can feel the vibe, especially in the chat, that there's a lot of people that are representing Australia that are in there, and they're very proud of this project.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, having local support is like, it's like, I'm sure like you get national pride when you have a lot of Americans, in your Discord as well. So it's amazing to have the support of our country, and we are going to be pushing over the next month or two for a lot more support from Australia, and we're starting to get it. So it's really exciting. I think being a small country like Australia and having, I think it's 25 million people, we are able to band together a lot easier than it is for a big country like America, like 480 million people. We do consider ourselves very united. It's not broken up into lots of different states like you guys, but it's it's like everybody's like your brother here, and there's that type of mentality where support for Aussie is important, and we see that in sport, and we always consider ourselves the underdog because we're only so small as a country in terms of population. But we always get together, we band together, we're very strong when it comes to that stuff. So having Australia's support early on in this project, even if it's a small amount, we will see that significantly grow soon.
Yeah, and you were saying about getting involved with a group or with people that are from your own country. All those issues we were talking about earlier, I've been a voice of trying to say that one way to combat this, it's not the only way, but one way to combat getting rugged or getting into bad projects or getting led down the wrong path is by surrounding yourself with a community that you trust. And sometimes it takes a while to find those communities, and it could be a Discord that you join, or it could be a Twitter follower, or whatever you find. But find something that benefits you with like-minded people that are interested in the same things that you are, because some groups are going to focus on making a hell of a lot of money really quickly, and maybe that's not your style of investment. Maybe some people just want to buy any NFT that comes out and then see what happens. And what you need to do is find yourself a group of people that have the same values that you have, and try to stick with those people to try to help yourself grow and learn better about the space. I think that's important, and people need to learn that.
Yeah, definitely. The strength in community, and like I said in the beginning, like community is like number one for this. NFTs wouldn't exist without community, and building a solid community for any, like whatever project you're in, or whatever community you're in, it is trust. It is doing stuff together. It is working together, and that's what I like so much about our community, is they're spending so much time getting to know one another. And if we're going to embark on something, long term, and people really believe in the project, and we're seeing that more and more every single day. We keep delivering, and you guys keep supporting us. It's like it's circular. It's like it goes back and forth, and it feels really good to be in a really positive community, because I have been in some very toxic communities, and it's not fun.
Absolutely. And that's, people just need to make those decisions. We're all adults here. So, find the communities that you fit in, and that have, that also have good values and good goals, and kind of just see where you go. And you don't always have to communicate. You don't have to be hyperactive. Just sit back and see where that group is going and see if you like that.
That's why groups like yours are so great, because you are putting like-minded people together, and you are working together as a team.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think that's what's important, is letting people have a voice and let people figure it out for themselves. But if you need to, make sure that you're a voice to say, hold on, wait a second, just understand what you're getting into. Don't go in it blindly, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally. 100%.
So talking about your project specifically, I know one of the things that you've discussed in the Discord that's going to be coming up is A, that you have a utility token, and B, the metaverse play. So when the utility token in the metaverse comes open, you said that that's potentially coming in the next 2 weeks or so?
Yeah, so there's a lot that's about to happen. Like it's probably all going to happen at once. So we've got a lot of balls in the air. So we're juggling a lot of things, and as they sort of start to land, we'll start catching them, and things will start to really get really interesting. Things that are working on or in the process that are happening as we speak is we have the staking ability. So we're using a Polygon bridge to do that because running a game on Ethereum just doesn't make sense gas-wise. So we've been building a bridge. We're building the tokens to replicate across onto the Polygon network. We are working on the UI, the staking, the gamification. We've also got the artist Ronnie. He's already working on some of the female pirates. So I've got a fairly lengthy roadmap on putting all the different variations together, getting all the artworks done, cataloging it all, running tests. So like I thought I'd put that to bed with the last lot, but that's going to start up all again. So getting little pieces right and making sure that's everything sort of fitting together. And that's sort of working alongside the release of the staking. So once staking goes live, hopefully we'll get through more of the assets. Once people will be able to progress further through the game, we'll have the assets ready. So these are the things that we need to sort of align as a business. So, like when we pull one lever, another lever goes forward. So we need to make sure that, there's a balance. Things are going to be working around the same time. We don't want too much of a gap between certain things. So it's about trying to get timing right. It's about trying to find the people to speed that up if we need to speed that up. It's about forward thinking and planning. Then we've also got the Metaverse acquisition that we're doing. So we just did a vote in the DAO for approval on an entertainment space. That space we've got really big plans for. I can't really talk too much about that because we're trying to keep that on the down low. But we could potentially have some really major artists play inside of a metaverse that looks super cool.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. And we'll be working with a designer to actually build our own elements inside of this space. So it's not just an acquisition of a normal space. We're going to be customizing it purely for what we want to do. So there's a small little roadmap for working with the designer, testing out to see if certain things work inside of these environments. So the Metaverse, we've got the staking, the play-to-earn game. We've got our Fizz collaboration. So the voting for the flavor is going to go live probably within a week.
That's going to be
awesome. I'm not sure on this, and I could be wrong, so don't quote me. But we could be hitting sales probably 10 days or 14 days after we pick the flavor.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to be quick, straight to market.
That is like super bullish.
Yeah.
But that's not 100%, but I think it's something like that. So I'll have to confirm with the guys over at Fizz, but they are moving very, very fast for this. They're super excited about it. I'm probably going to do an AMA with them, bring them in so that people can have a chat with some of the guys from Fizz themselves and really hear from the horse's mouth what their plans are and what they see with Salties and their launch of this new product or new flavor. And it's really exciting because no one's ever done this with an NFT. This is, going to be big PR for Fizz as well as us. We should see some news events. We should see some activity with particular publications. We've got to run it to sort of see what is going to happen off the back of this, but we've got some massive support from Fizz, and I'm pretty sure you guys already know who the influencers are behind Fizz. They will be coming behind to support the new product. So super bullish.
Yeah, that's awesome. And this gives me an opportunity real quick to talk about something that I've actually talked about several times prior to this AMA. So I'm glad that I finally get to talk to you about it. I had an experience, and that's the only way I can explain it. I had an experience, and this experience was when you invited me onto a pirate ship, and you said we're going to have a party on a pirate ship. And I thought, all right, that's kind of cool. I've never done that before. I've obviously played video games for a majority of my life, but to be on a pirate ship in the metaverse that's involved with an NFT project that you're doing, that was a game changer. And I knew it was unique. I knew this was the first time that I was doing something like that. And was so excited about it. I called my wife up and I said, hey, you got to come down here and check this out. I'm doing something that I think is going to be really big going forward into the future. And she came down and took a look at it. And there's several people right now in the chat that were there as well. And it was unique. It was really, really cool to do that. And I think that's going to really start to take off as we go forward with your project.
Yeah, look, I don't know if it's the fizz or still the momentum from that party, but it was such a buzz. It was electric, and the guys did a really good job. Like Dick Dollar, he's an amazing DJ, and just to have something a little bit different and unique, like that's always what we're trying for. We're not trying to be another ape club. We're not trying to be something that everybody else is. We're trying to do things differently. We did smart contracts a whole different way. We're putting pirates on cans of alcohol. We're running metaverse parties with DJs on boats. Like who doesn't want to be involved in something like that? This is just the start. We've been live for 3 weeks now. Wait till you see what we've got planned for 6 months. Wait till you see what we've got planned for 12 months. Like we have a really ambitious goal to go after the BAYC of Australia.
Well, this brings me to a question that somebody in our group asked. I'm gonna shorten it a little bit and make it 2-part. Number one, currently there's approximately 830 some odd holders for pirates. Do you see that as being an issue going forward for the play to earn aspect of the game? Which also brings me to the second portion of the question is, do you plan on having more NFTs coming in the future over the 300 limit that you have currently?
The 300 limit?
Oh, I'm sorry, 3,000. I'm sorry, 3,000.
Sorry, I just confused me there.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was trying to think what metric we have at 300, but no, we will never be releasing more pirates. 3,000 is the max supply. So that's never going to change. Reason for that is because we set the original supply at 3,000. We're never going to change that number for our original holders. Our original holders are going to hold the original pirates, and everything we build out from there will be, important for the original pirates. So, like they're our original investors. They're our very first investors. They're the ones we're going to look after the most. That's not to say that we're not going to, create new projects or create new drops that are not going to be beneficial for new holders. They're just not going to be as an early entry point as the original ones were. So the amount of holders is not a concern for me. I think you'll start to see as we start to rise our floor based on certain announcements that are coming out. That's not financial advice by any means. I don't know that. I don't have a crystal ball. But as we start to see more and more announcements and as we start to grow our community even further, it's fine for people to take profits or to sell pirates on the way up just to minimize their risk, which is what we all do. I mean, like if, for example, some guys have spent 1 or 2 ETH, it's fine for them to take 1 or 2 ETH profit on the way up as we start to see that climb. So that will give opportunities for new pirates to enter. We're not exactly 10 ETH to enter. It's a very cheap entry point still to this day. And there are probably less than 8% of pirates on the market. So there is a good opportunity for us to change the number of owners today because the floor price is really was really low. And I think it's a great entry point. It's something where, our original pirates will eventually sell a little bit of what they're holding to minimize their risks, and that'll bring in new investors.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's pretty cool. And recently you guys have been talking about the ability to mint a female pirate. Can you give us a little bit more information on that and what you plan to do with that NFT or the female pirate?
Yeah, sure. The female pirates are going to have their own utility. And what we're doing is basically gamifying earning a female pirate. And the reason why we're doing that is, number one, the female pirates, any collection I've ever seen do a female collection or a secondary collection, typically hasn't done well. And that's because of a few factors. Number one, they try to do the same amount of supply as the original OG set. Number two, they don't consider the same level of art that they used in the first collection. It's generally done a little bit cheaper. And thirdly, it's just given to them as airdrops and they're not earned. So there's actually no value to that. If you just airdrop something and you didn't earn it, it has no value. So what we've done is we've made a staking game. So once you stake, you start earning rewards. And those rewards you can use to craft items. And then when you craft items and you have enough of them, you can mint a female pirate. And it's a little bit of a process, but it's done that way so that there is value to these pirates. If it was easy to get and it took, like it was just airdropped to you, they would literally have no value. So this is how we create value for this set initially. We lower the supply, we make it relatively not hard, but we make it like a sort of a medium-term time investment. It's not about how often you log in to do anything because the resources are collected for you on. They're actually collected for you automatically. It's actually you coming in and say 5-10 days and then looking at what you can do at that point because. You might be able to trade certain things or you might be able to swap resources or do certain things or maybe open loot boxes or whatever we have in there. But you don't have to literally log in every single day to do stuff. You can let it sort of accumulate and build and then you can do stuff, like within a week or 2 weeks or depending on how many pirates you hold. But the idea was to lower supply so there's less of them, create a roadmap to actually achieving them, which gives them gives them some value. And then actually having utility for both the pirates to create a new staking mechanism that we'll use to create rooms on our ships as NFTs. And then once you do that, then you can split them again into two separate, the pirate can go back into the original staking contract so they can start earning rewards again. And the female pirate will have another separate staking contract, which will start earning like a potion style type NFT, which when you have a particular potion from a certain amount of days of staking with a female pirate, you'll be able to create a VX pirate. So the whole process is to getting us to the next level of game. And the next level of game will be Metaverse game. And the resources will become important inside of the Metaverse. The VX skins will be able to be used in the Metaverse. There'll be utility and staking contracts for 3 different mechanisms of actually putting the male pirate, both of them together, and the female pirate into separate contracts over time to achieving that. So we have our roadmap towards getting to there. And then everything that we've sort of been working on is we then gamify even further in the Metaverse.
Yeah, that's very detailed. There's a lot going on there, and you're obviously, have a lot of methodical actions and you're strategic in your moves. And I think that's what's making you guys stand out a lot as well. But one of my questions that I had personally was by looking at your game and the way that it has been set up, and then after doing the pirate party ship, is there going to be this game? Is it going to be just like a one-player type game, or are you going to be able to interact with other people or anything like that in that metaverse with other pirates?
No, it's siloed, but the vision for the game that we do in the metaverse, we don't have that. We don't have that mapped out yet. Okay. What we're doing is we're creating the roadmap to getting there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to a studio or we're going to go to someone that has built something like this previously because we don't have metaverse experience. This is something that will have to be outsourced or we have to hire a team to do it. But that will be worked out once we get closer to that point. So we only just came up with this new gamified idea literally a week and a half ago. And I sat down with the team. We put down on paper. I wrote down some mathematic equations. We tested it out. I then did the UI in the front end for the team so they could see the overall vision and what we'd been discussing. We made some changes to the UI and we fixed a couple of things to make it easier for user experience and then optimized a few things that would actually make it a little bit more enjoyable inside of the game as well. And then we've started building that. So that sort of happened within like a week and a half in terms of ideation to actually implementing, which is really, really fast. And probably another week or week and a half, maybe 2 weeks till we actually deploy that. And then we'll have some time between when we set up the other staking contracts for the other 3 mechanisms along that way to start talking to Metaverse gaming studios or particular studios or freelancers or whatever it is. We'll have time to be able to achieve that, so that when we get closer and closer to that point, we'll have already had all those conversations. We'll know who we'll be working with. We know how much it's going to cost, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that one of the questions that I had that I was gonna, that I was thinking about asking you, and I feel like we've been hitting it all night, was what makes your NFT project unique? What makes it stand out from other NFT projects? And I do think we've been talking about it all night, but as a question, what stands out to you about your project that makes it more unique?
I think it's our community, number one. I think it's things that we've achieved already, like the smart contract optimization, the collaboration with Fizz, the strength of community from Australia as well, which is like significant for us as well. But then also like this level of gamification on top of the staking UI to actually improve the quality of a second drop and its performance. It's an unknown at this point, but these are things that have been put in place to be able to help with the things that we've seen happen that have gone wrong for businesses that have tried to do something similar. So these are ways that we've tried to improve that. So I think one of the most unique things about this particular project is we have real world experience as well, but we weren't any of the trailblazers. So we've seen projects go through all different types of ideas. Like we saw what was it when they locked up their NFTs in vaults, and then they had tokens for that, and that completely failed.
Yeah.
But everyone was doing it at the time, and we've been lucky to be able to sit back and see those things happen. And that's not to say that mistakes won't be made along the way. We're human at the end of the day, so mistakes will happen. But we have been in a really unique scenario of seeing probably one of the most explosive times in NFTs, sitting back and being able to have the time while we were developing. And it's very easy for us to pivot and move. Like you can see how quickly we move. Like we thought of a game, and then within a week and a half we're deploying it. So we're a very adaptable team. Like we are always looking at other projects. We are not siloed by any means in our own project. We are keeping our ear to the ground on what others are doing. We're looking at latest trends. We are really searching and trying to uncover the best things in this space to bring to our project, but at the same time bringing its uniqueness, which is the Fizz, which is the optimization, which is this gamification as well. And they're just some of the things that I can think of right now.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think it's very clear that you're passionate about this project, that you have a strong team, that you guys are looking towards the future, not just what's in front of you. And I think that that's going to play out for your project. Things are looking really good for the Salty Pirate crew. It's very different. It's very unique. And as you guys continue forward, I'll be sure to catch up and make sure that I try to stop in and talk with you. But I really appreciate you coming on here and talking with us today. There's a lot of our community involved in your community and vice versa, and it's just great to sit down and have a conversation about this. And I really do appreciate you working this into your schedule.
Mate, I love this channel. Like it's great. You've got some amazing members, and thank you all the members that came in from Bourbon-n-Blockchain. It's been a great support, and it's a great channel. So we continue to do any of these whenever the community wants them.
Well, absolutely. Well, thank you to everybody who came out tonight, and enjoy the rest of your day. Is it Saturday? Is it Saturday over by you in Australia?
It is. It's Saturday around 3 p.m.
Well, enjoy your Saturday, because my Friday night is coming to an end, and it was great talking to you, and I hope that we get to talk again soon.
Anytime, brother. Thank you very much. See you guys.
Have a good night.